absolutely the best one and the most interesting one for me, because today I'm going to host someone who make me eligible to host a show or doing whatever I am capable of, whatever little thing I have done so far. And actually these 5-6 minutes of introduction I will feel useless, because the person don't need an introduction to all the people in India right now, because he is known to all the people who want to do innovation, who wants to convert their innovation into a business. He used to be known as startup doctor, because he actually works like a doctor. If you really have a problem with your startup, if you're coming to him, he is going to give you such a solutions that are very affordable, that are that in most of the time that don't require money much to solve that problem, but with the advice you can solve the thing. Still, I am going to give a little bit of references with about whom I am talking right now. I am talking about the MD of Kolkata Ventures, Mr. Avelo Roy, and our most beloved mentor. He started his journey at the age of 19 years in Illinois Institute of Technology with his own startup, and become a millionaire by 22 years of old age. He was TEDx speaker for several times, like 3 times, right, sir? Fourth time. Sorry. So 4 times, and he is a TV host, as well as a tech entrepreneur, investor, and moreover, he's such a good soul. The most important part when we are talking about human beings, we have to be a good human being. All the other attributes comes later. So being a human being, it's not about like I only talk about business with Mr. Avelo sir. I can talk about anything about my life, whatever the problem I am encountering, and that's the most interesting part of being a mentor-mentee relationship, that we can share all the things with our mentor, because every single aspect of life is influencing our working life or the success or whatever we are doing. So thank you so much, Avelo sir, for accepting our invitation in such a short period of time. And I hope this session is going to be life-changing session for most of the people who are really watching this session, and they can get not only about Space Up Challenge, it can be applicable to any sphere of life for them if they want to innovate and want to be an entrepreneur or get into this domain. So thank you so much for coming. The stage is yours. We will go through a little bit question answer manner, but I know that is not needed. You can speak about entrepreneurship for 10 hours without any questions. You can just talk by yourself, but still, as because it's a talk show, we'll go in that format. So thank you so much for coming. The stage is yours.
So thank you, Arijit. Very grateful for inviting me. It's always a pleasure. So I was also looking forward to it as much as you were, because I don't think we have ever been online publicly like this. We
Exactly.
have our conversations on phone and in person, but this is wonderful to be together. And we have everybody who knows both of us know we have a nice chemistry for the last 4 years. I met Arijit as a little budding entrepreneur who had a lot of fire in him, still has. Nana has made it a little bit more malleable, but but it's absolutely a pleasure to have seen Arijit grow as an entrepreneur, and many people along with him and the ecosystem that we have today. And so today, I understand Arijit is talking about innovation and commercializing that innovation. And it's a rare combination where an inventor becomes an entrepreneur, because most times inventors tend to be focused on the technology and the complexities, and the more complex, the more feel good, the ego feels great that I have made something so complicated, right? And an entrepreneur thinks how to make things simple so that people can understand it and they can buy it. So these two things don't necessarily go together. So you'll see a lot of good professors with a lot of PhDs and whatnot. They are excellent at research, but they're really terrible at teaching, right? A lot of times it happens like that, and definitely they're not entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurial mindset requires us as innovators to think commercially. That, okay, at every feature that you put in, is there a need for it? Will people want to use it? Is it a need or a want, right? And accordingly, one chooses to build the first minimum viable product. To give an example, many of you know what a Segway is. Segway with the 2 wheels, 4 gyroscopes. It's a fantastic innovation. And the founder of the Segway came to my college once, and he was giving a speech saying that I locked myself in my room for 6 months, and I thought my innovation would replace walking, would replace cars, and it didn't. When it came out, it was too expensive. Nobody wanted to afford it. It was too scary for people to even use it. So what it ended up being is it's used by cops and it's used by tourists. Same time, Steve Jobs came up with the iPod, and the iPod was well researched, well thought out. And even though there were so many MP3 players, it was not a massive innovation. It was just another MP3 player that was branded right. It was 1,000 songs in your pocket rather than 1 GB, 2 GB, 500 MB. It's 1,000 songs in your pocket. White headphones, because you paid a lot of money for an Apple product, you better show off, right? And seeing that others would buy it. So that's the difference between an innovator and an innovator who's also an entrepreneur. If you look at Sir Isaac Newton, he was an innovator plus entrepreneur, right? He was inventing things, but he's also thinking about how practically this can be implemented. So when you're an innovator and engineer, always think practicality, not the theory part, sky high, but actually how will people use it? Will people use it? Can they afford it? Is there a need for it? Or is it just something that's nice to have, but nobody will use it, right? So practicality is the key part of translating an innovation to entrepreneurship. Arijit, I'm sure you have a bunch of questions. Feel free to let's make it a conversation so it doesn't become a radio show.
So my first question is, in most of the cases, the whatever you have said, that's absolutely true, that we engineers success doing entrepreneurship if we are the innovator by our own self. It can happen that somebody is doing engineering but don't like engineering and more into marketing and sales, and they are becoming entrepreneur. That is different thing. But when somebody is good with codings, electronics, making their own products, it happens that inherently some ego just got boosted up. And it's very difficult for them to work in a group, and they forget that without teamwork they cannot form a company. But they stick with the ego and created a company with 2-3 people, and they just lost all the things, because if there is no marketing, no sales, if people are not getting the brand, no innovation is going to take the market, right? Even if we know how to sell, we can sell the water in a bottle and all those stuff. But if we don't know how to sell, then we cannot sell the best product in this world. So how they should change their mindset from school age or college first year or something like that, so that they can have the teamwork capability. They can understand alone we are very small and we have to work in a team. Maybe I can have very much intelligence, but at the day's end, only intelligence with certain field is not going to work. So we have to have complementary intelligence to do certain things. So how they can change their mindset to implement this thing?
I'm happy you're saying this, Arijit. Certain things are just age. It's just a matter of age. You can tell people a lot, but they might not change. But eventually, as life slaps you in the face, and as you go through life, you learn that certain things, like you rightly said, that your intelligence is not enough, your skill, your wisdom, you don't have that. So you need to team up with people who know something you don't know. And no matter what you tell somebody at a certain age, people will not understand. So, and it is just a part of the growing up process. I have mentored, literally thousands of people in US and India, spiritually as well as in entrepreneurship. And I have seen this. If somebody is not going to get it, they're not going to get it. And that ego needs to be bruised away with a lot of failure, a lot of, punch in the face, embarrassment, rejection, and all of that. And after that, what happens is certain people just quit the whole dream of entrepreneurship and go get a job where they also don't do very well because of the ego aspect, right? Nobody likes them, so they don't get the corporate ladder right because of the ego thing. So ego, if everybody has ego, let's face it, especially if you're intelligent, you will have ego. In our scriptures, it says Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. So Janma means you're born in a good family. Your Aishwarya means you have money. Right, Shruta means you have intelligence, and Shri, good looks. If you have any of these 4 things, you will be proud. It's just how it is. Now, some people, by the time they're 22, 23, 24, they get enough challenges in life and figure out, oh, you know what? I need to get rid of my ego. I need to be humble. I need to know that I don't know and learn from people who do. Some people don't learn it even at the age of 50. And they live a horrible life. You know, one of my best friends' uncle, he graduated from MIT. Arijit, I tell you, that man is a genius. But if I tell you, he has not been able to keep a job for more than 6 months because of his arrogance. And he was homeless for a matter of 1 year, 1 or 1.5 years. He was homeless, being an MIT graduate. Imagine that. Why? Because of his arrogance. Right? So arrogance kills us, but at the same time, I also appreciate that when somebody is in 19, 20, 21, it is natural. You're a CEO, you're doing something brilliant, people are saying you're amazing, you're getting awards, you're getting to speak and all that. You feel you're up in the clouds. Intelligence is figuring out, oh my God, there is so much I don't know. The more you know, the more you figure out you don't know. And that is when you realize, shit, I should not do this. I should find out somebody and work with other people, which you have done. There was a time you were an angry young man. You still are. But, you're much better now. Over the years, you've evolved and matured so much. I'm so proud of you, which doesn't happen in many cases. Many cases, you know about the company I was running. I had bought this Nearify, and it was run by 3 guys who are IIT Kanpur graduates, MIT PhDs, and they were so egoistic that the Lightspeed and VC firms like that were coming with 15, 20 crores and going back. They're like, sorry, don't want to invest in the guy. The product is fantastic, but so we had to get rid of the entire founding team. And come on board. And anyway, long story short, ego killed them. And that man, I tell you, the founder of the company, and I'm saying this publicly, but he's 40 years old and still doesn't have a success story behind him. His wife makes 2 lakhs a month. He doesn't make anything. And he's depression, hospitalized, all of that. The point what I'm trying to make is brilliance doesn't take you anywhere. You can be an average intelligent guy, and you can still have people who like you. You can bring people together, and you can still be amazingly successful. There was a speech by George W. Bush. He says, congratulations, toppers. But those of you who are the C graders, you might be the next president of the United States. And the reason why I said that is because most US presidents have a C average GPA. Most successful entrepreneurs are actually C average GPA. Those who are the A graders are the ones who fit in with the academic system perfectly, right? That means they know the system and they cannot think out of the system. Those who couldn't fit in the system are constantly innovating and looking to find hacks, how to break the system or how to actually make it work for them. It's survival. And the more you try to survive, the more strength you build and the more powerful you are to build a business. And that's the biggest strength of an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs have been either abused emotionally or physically or sexually, as a child, or they come from broken families, or they've gone through some very difficult times in their lives because that survival of that difficult time has taught them how to survive in a startup. And that humbles you also.
Exactly. So when we do struggle, actually, not everybody do struggle. I didn't struggle because I enjoyed the journey. I got experience.
And you struggled a lot. Your Josh talks are all about it.
So those are the events. Now somebody can take it as a struggle. Somebody can take it as an experience. So
you learned a lot from that, right?
Exactly.
That's what struggle means. Struggle means you've struggled through and you've come clean out of it. That means you've learned something out of it.
Exactly. So every day when I was sleeping on the road, I was sleeping with a smile. I was just having a conversation with the beggars, how their life is. And at that point of time, I really can understand that everybody has a story, everybody has a pain, and how to be empathetic. And that's the time when I started being empathetic. And when we just hit the bottom rock, we can understand this ego is not going to work. Alone, we are very weak. So we need to collaborate with people, and we have to be flexible. That's the important part, and that's I have learned from you that we need to be flexible. The more we get rigid, the people will not like us, and people will not like to collaborate with us because there is no amalgamation between these two things. So that's a wonderful thing that I have learned and utilized that thing.
And the rigidity part also stops you from learning, because when you're rigid, you might think this is the way I want, and somebody might have a better way of presenting that. Because you're rigid to your way, you just never got the opportunity to learn something better, right? So that's
Absolutely.
also another part of being open-minded and flexible, that, you know what, anybody can give me an idea, and that could potentially revolutionize things.
Exactly. And when we have little knowledge, when we learn small things, we start having the ego. But when we just get the overview of the whole thing, we can understand how little we know about all the domains. We think that we are the best and all those stuff, and that really helps to get out of the ego thing. So that's really.
I'll tell you a story, Arijit. Like, so in India, as you know, right, if somebody is a police officer or somebody is working in a bank, you know, they don't even look at you. They treat you like you're a nobody, and they're the end all be all personality of God, right? So when my first impression with really powerful people in the US, including President Obama, was the fact that they're so humble. You know, one time I was the VP of student government, and I was inviting this guy who's an alumni of my university. So cell phones were invented in my university, and the guy who did it is still alive, right? I had the opportunity to invite him to come for a speech. He's a Nobel laureate. Yeah. And I tell you, Arijit, I thought Nobel laureate money, you know, bodyguards and all of that. I couldn't recognize him. Looking at Kothai, you know, who's this guy? When he's gonna? And he's like, I'm the guy. I'm like, where should I go? Which room to enter? And we went and he spoke, and we made friendship. And he's obviously older than my father, but I felt like this man is so, you know, down to earth. Then, you know, one after another started meeting CEOs. The person who invented the garage door opener, you know, Craig Duchessois. The person who invented barcodes, Ed Kaplan. I know these people are billionaires with a B, right? My Arijit, I tell you, they're dancing with me. They're like, Bharatiya Show Khabe, like, you know, that kind of relationship. They don't care. I'm a nobody teenager, you know, from India who hardly can, you know, and I'm not even a fraction, 100th of what they're. That's when I realized why America is so successful, is because there's no hierarchy. Capitalism, yes, it is. Yeah. Some people have a lot, some people have a lot less. But those people who have a lot, there is something to be learned from those people. The reason why they have a lot is they don't have ego. And those who don't have anything, they have so much ego. You know, it's quite the opposite, you would think. And that's, so because I got trained that way, you see in my dealings with, so when I was when I came to India, anytime anybody would fix an appointment, I would come on time. And this MLA. Am I not audible?
Voice of, yeah, right now it's okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the point is, what I'm trying to get here is that in my life, I have embodied that very much. Like President Obama, he would come 15 minutes before his meeting time. Anytime there was a meeting time, we all knew that he would come 15 minutes before his time. So everybody else would come 15 minutes before Obama. That means half an hour before the meeting, you're there. So if you come on time, you're late. And in India, so I was meeting with some officials with TAI and NASCOM and all these wonderful people. And I was invited by the US Department of Commerce head. So he was like, I'll introduce you to the community. Yeah. And he and I came 15 minutes early. Everybody else came 45 minutes late. And the host came an hour late.
Wow,
you know?
God.
And then they told me, like, well, don't be stupid. Don't come on time. When you come on time, you're basically proving to everyone that you don't have anything better to do in life. If you come late, that means you're somebody important. And that is how India has been running for the last several decades. But our generation is different, and it has to be different. Time is money. Yeah. Right? Exactly. So if you look at me, I'm very much, sorry, I got a little delayed today for your call.
No.
But generally speaking, I try to be right on time. You know, and that's
exactly. I know that you are not that much physically well, and in this short span of time you manage the schedule. That's wonderful for us. So there is no issue with that. Sir, we have certain comments, so I am just showing comments on screen. The first comment from our very our common known guy, the Siddhant Sekhar, and he is saying, so what do you want to say about it?
So Dad, good to see you. I hope you're well. I see you traveling around, looking good.
Yeah. So next question is from Obhirupa Chakraborty. It's a long question. sometimes you have a feeling that yes, this idea of yours would turn the world round, but ultimately you end up with fears of what if the people who are questioning your ideas today will be proved right when you fail. What if? How to deal with that confusion?
Sure. What if? Yeah, sure. Let them be proved right. So what? They will laugh at you for 30 seconds. Like, ha ha, ha, I told you so, you wouldn't succeed. After that, they'll forget about it. But you will be carrying that around with your ego, right? And that's the problem. When you hold on to hot burning coal, what happens? You are the one who gets burnt, right? But
Exactly.
so the point is, many people laughed at Jeff Bezos also. Many people laughed at, so I come from a political family. One of my family friends, his name was Ajit Panja. He was MP for 36 years, right? But when he lost his first MLA election, the Communist Party at the time grabbed his neck, took him to the drain and made him drink that drain water that was open sewage. They made him drink the drain water and spit on his neck, right? He was a barrister at law, coming from a very wealthy family and very educated man. That one election only he lost in his life, and that's what happened to him. After that, for 36 years, he was an MP. He was minister of so many, departments, cabinet minister, coal, so many things. The point I'm trying to make here is, people will laugh at you if you fail, and trust me, when you're trying to do something big, you will fail. Let me guarantee you that, first of all. And if you don't do it, actually today I tweeted something. I just want to read that to you. I liked it. It's exactly on this topic.
Law of attraction.
One thing that makes it impossible to achieve your dream is your fear for failure. Right? So one thing that makes it impossible for you to succeed is your fear for failure, because you will fail. And if you have the fear for that, how will you succeed? So the point is, let them laugh at you temporarily. Know that this will not last for too long. If that was the case, all these politicians taking bribe on camera would not get re-elected, right? So you're nothing compared to these guys. So they will laugh for a few minutes, then you try again, you'll fail again and again. Even after 10 times, if you succeed, for the rest of your life, people will remember that success. And the times you failed will become nothing. Nobody will even recall. My name is
Avelo Roy. TEDx or Joe Stocks.
Huh?
The times you have failed, that will become a TEDx or Joe Stocks.
Exactly. You're Joe Stock or TEDx Stock in the making. Like, my name is Avelo Roy, and I'm named after Thomas Alva Edison. Alva theke Avelo, right? And Thomas Edison failed 9,999 times till he got the first light bulb. And we are sitting in front of so many bulbs. Now, if he didn't, it would take a lot of time to get that first light bulb. Of course, somebody would figure it out, but he didn't give up. The point is, nobody talks about his failures. People talk about Thomas Edison as the man who is a master of innovations. So the point is, understand that, have the ability to absorb criticism, absorb laughter and joke, and be able to move on. If you don't have that ability, go get a job, right? That's the best option.
Exactly. Thank you so much, sir. There is another question that's much more bigger. What do you think about multitasking on entrepreneurship? Focus on different things at the same time. Is it a good idea or bad? There is a word called plan B. If I think about plan B, then already I have missed the focus of present things and what I am doing. On the other hand, always keep plan B is important. Someone says multitasking is good if you can, and it's dangerous if you can't. So what's your say about it?
Mr. Sadik, it's a scientifically proven statement that we're not capable of multitasking as human beings. The brain is binary. It's just like 0 and 1, right? It might be fast in terms of, like, I'm looking at my WhatsApp and doing my work, and looking at my WhatsApp and doing my work. I might be thinking I'm multitasking. Actually, I'm inefficient, right? So what I do is, a lot of times people who call me, if my phone is switched off, that means I'm in the zone. I am going to just get one thing done, and then I'm going to do something else. I used to be a multitasker when I was young. Still, I'm kind of young, I guess. But when I was younger, I used to do a lot of multitasking. And that would lead to inefficient work. So I realized that when I don't do that, it's... Now, the other point you said very rightly, plan B. Yes, that means you've already given up on plan A. So the important part about success in entrepreneurship is not about talent. It's not about brains. It's not about daddy having a lot of money. It's one thing, and it's hunger, right? It's fire in the belly. It's survival instinct. For me, I will never tell you my GPA because it's horrible. When I graduated from college, I couldn't have gotten a job even if I wanted to. So my only survival was startups. And now I knew there was no visa for entrepreneurs in the US, but still I had to make that work. There was a gun to my head. Either do this or go back to India and start from scratch. And I worked so much for my startup over my college days that I couldn't but launch it, right? So there was a gun to my head. I figured out my immigration. I figured out funding. I figured out whatever I had to figure out, even though I don't have the brains like Arijit has, or people like, who are actually intelligent people have. I have very average intelligence. But because there was a gun to my head, somehow or other, I worked very hard to figure things out, find hacks, find loopholes, and survive. So if you have that ability, so a lot of times I tell people, Bangali children especially, I tell them, because parents are the biggest pull factor, right? There's a mentee of mine called Shudipto, brilliantly gifted guy, but never does anything good in life. Because his parents are spoiling him. He wants a computer. Instead of buying a car, his father just bought him a computer worth cars, literally. It's like 2-3 lakhs worth computer. He wants a phone, father will buy him everything. And that's the middle class mentality where they think I couldn't fulfill my dreams, I'm fulfilling my child's dream. They're actually harming their child. My thing to Shudipto was get out of the house, try to pay rent, and survive to pay the rent, right? That's what Ritesh did. So Ritesh of Oyo, Ritesh Agarwal, is a friend of mine. So his early days, he was sleeping on railway platforms. He was sleeping under, staircase. And I'll just tell a short story. This maybe I shouldn't be talking about this publicly. Maybe I should. I don't know. But I won't name any names. So there was the first co-working space in Delhi was opening up. And my friend was the owner of that space. And he was doing interviews for a receptionist. So Ritesh came in for the interview because if you got the job of a receptionist, you can also live in that space. So co-working plus co-living, right? Now Ritesh didn't get the job of receptionist. So what he said is like, I'll stay here anyway. I'll pay for it. Let me stay here. So he said, okay, fine, you can stay here. And so for 3 months, Ritesh stayed there. Somehow he arranged the money. Every night he would go out. In the morning, there were 2,000 rupees. Somehow he got the money. Nobody knows how. 3 months later, Ritesh was nowhere to be found. He was gone. And there was a letter that said, Oyo room, incorporated in this address. So basically, he used that address to incorporate Oyo rooms. Without the permission of the owner, he forced the signature and everything. But the point is it a crime? Not like a crime that you can go to jail. Everybody understood, okay, he hacked the system. He's from Bhubaneswar. Actually, he's from a tier 2-3 city in Orissa, right? But he needed an address to incorporate his company, and he did that, and in 3 months, he was out. Point is, survival was his thing. He didn't have a place to live also, right? And he incorporated a company, and he did what he had to do to get it out there. And now that he's a billion-dollar company is running, everybody talks about that. Nobody knows about those secrets. So again, going back to the idea is, if there's a hunger, you will figure out a way to make it happen. So you can have a plan B, but don't let that take over your mind.
Exactly. That's a great answer, sir. So we have some other questions. Okay. We have, that's why policemen in US talks with their gun more than words. Siddhant is saying that policemen in US talks more.
I don't know what that means, but that's not my experience, at least.
Okay, fine.
I have met only good policemen. Remarkable moment. Priceless moment, really enjoyed. Okay, good. Happy, Pritam. Always nice to hear from you.
Kushank Sriraj, I just got an opportunity to submit an idea as a businessman canvas to a startup competition. They have asked for a written intro. What do you suggest I should write about? What you would like to read if you are a judge of such a competition?
What does it matter what I would like to read? What matters is what you're gifted with, what is your passion, what you're psychophysically designed to be. So figure out your own calling. Don't look at pleasing people, whoever it might be, right? And idea is not what matters. What matters is really your ability to execute. If you cannot execute, everybody has an idea. Your mother has an idea, grandmother has an idea, the guys on the street begging for things also has an idea. So idea doesn't mean anything. What matters is execution. So get started with whatever your idea is. If you have to build a WordPress site, go on YouTube, learn how to build it. In 2 hours, you'll have a website ready. If you're building something real, go build a 3D printout, prototype, whatever it is, right? But build something. Prove to yourself. You don't have to prove it to anybody else.
Exactly.
Did you get Siddhant's question? I didn't understand the police, guns. What was that? Is he on drugs? Anyway.
So next question is from SM Sadiq. That is, I am suffering from this stuff from last 1 year. Multitasking break me many times.
Don't do it. Yeah. Do one thing at a time. Do it well. Hope to end up with a Josh Talk at TEDx link one day. Thanks for answering, sir. I will keep okay.
Next question is, ego surely is a hindrance and so is self-doubt, especially if one is average in the world of intelligent people. Can hard work help in overcoming that self-doubt?
Progress does. So hard work, if it leads to progress, it will help you overcome the self-doubt. But if the hard work is directionless, then you will see that you're not seeing progress, and then self-doubt will grow stronger and you will think you're a loser. So get guidance, get a mentor, get somebody to guide you so your hard work plus smart work leads to progress.
So, sir, I have a personal question. That's not a question from my end, but since last weeks I used to get these questions in my inbox, and one question was very common. I don't know people are copy pasting and sending or not. So the question is, I don't have an idea, I don't have a plan, so give me idea and inspiration. I want to become an entrepreneur. What do you want to say about this?
Go get an internship and learn something about the world. Get some skills. Once you know more about yourself, come back to me.
Great, sir. So the talk show is happening because of this Space App India Hackathon, NASA Space App Challenge. So though it's a space thing, so it's not absolutely related. So just a second. Sorry for the interruption. It was a power cut. So it's not about only space. So we are going to include Earth related innovations itself, which can be done with the NASA data, NASA open data, and all those things that's available from space related things, like from satellites, the data that can be used for remote geosensing, and there are several kind of stuff. But how people can use it in a very simpler way to make a business out of it, like I have seen in last NASA Space App Challenge, a company was invited to give a talk over there. So what they're doing, they're using this space related data to get a heat map of pollution in different areas, and they're suggesting the government how to take initiatives to get out of that. So that is also happening with the space related data to do something, create a solution out of Earth's problem. So how people can really think in a very simpler term with this kind of innovations, and how they can convert these businesses into these ideas into businesses.
You know, Arijit, there are two things. Two of my very close friends, my classmates, are in NASA. One is a NASA flight traffic controller. The other one was behind the launch of the last emission that happened. So from both, I have learned one thing. NASA comes up with a lot of innovations for space. But what happens is there's a lot of byproduct innovations. You know, so let's say, for example, somebody who is in space, water is a problem. So they have a perfect way of purifying urine and making that into drinkable water. Now, that innovation was meant for space, but that innovation has saved a lot of lives in countries like Haiti and Somalia and places like that, where they're able to use that technology for clean water. Or something for the spaceship, you know, now are used in every single airport in the world, you know, on the tar that is used on the where the flight takes off, the grip that the flight gets is a NASA. So a lot of NASA byproducts are actually used for civilian purposes. So two things. One is the innovation that is for space, right? And that might not have any applicable impact on a civilian life, right? The other kind is something that is applicable for space, but can also be applicable in civilian life and can be used, can be both way, can be applicable. So you have to look for that kind of situation where even if the space thing doesn't work out, that in civil life, this can be utilized, and how that can be utilized, the translation from the innovation to applicability is the entrepreneur's uniqueness or genius, right? I cannot teach that, but that's something that somebody either has it or they don't have it, right? So for example, looking at a marble block, Michelangelo would look at it and he saw the statue of David. I would look at it and see a marble block. But Michelangelo, before carving it, he's already seen the statue of David. And so when he's carving it, it's already in his head. So similarly, an entrepreneur already sees the opportunity. Some people don't see it. And it's just people to people. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, sir. So next, many people are saying, many students are also saying that I want to participate, but I cannot. There is a very small token amount that they needs to pay for getting into this pre-hackathon, right? That is 400 rupees kind of stuff. So many people are saying that I cannot afford to pay that money, but I know they can. So what you want to say about them? Few people think that as there is a Google, so everything is an open source resource. So we shouldn't pay for the knowledge. Is it a right idea or a wrong idea, or how should people do with it?
It's not right or wrong, Arijit. Yes, there is actually very valuable knowledge available online. My YouTube channel, the kind of things I have put out there, people use it actually for corporate training and things like that. You have told me I use your videos for corporate training and this, that. Yeah. So yes, there is valuable information freely available online. Having said that, there are people who would pay for certain things that are more valuable. So for example, people see 3 minutes of my YouTube channel and they might come and take an incubation with me, which has happened, right? And some people might just see it and that's enough for them. So it's really, people have a choice. Some people can choose to pay or not. So if I were you, I wouldn't go after the person who's saying 400 rupees is too much for me. I mean, it's not, you and I both know. If you go to a restaurant, you're going to spend more than that. If you go to a movie, you're going to spend more than that. Right? So if your girlfriend asked for it, you would spend more than that. But it's okay. Right? If you don't want it, that's not your customer. That's not the person. And they don't need to be part of this. And don't chase the people who are not the right fit, because even if they come in,
it's not about chasing. I am not going them and convincing them. What is happening? They are coming to me and they are saying we are highly interested to participate in this hackathon, but it's very difficult for us to pay that money.
And just tell them, if you're highly interested, you would figure out. You're highly interested in eating. You're highly interested in drinking. You're highly interested in watching Netflix. You figure out a way to do it. If you're highly interested in participating in this, figure out a way to do it. If you had a broken arm, you would spend 400 rupees to get a plaster on it. So this is your life you're investing in. It's your life you're investing in. So if you cannot invest 400 rupees in your life, then don't dream. Maybe I'm being too rude. I don't know. If somebody really is genuinely that poor that they cannot put in 400 rupees, fine, make it free. I'll pay for it. You give me a call. I'll pay for it.
We also do it. If somebody is really like we invest for people's patent, we invest for people's product, we give scholarship so much. But still, if I am seeing someone, like there are very intelligent people who are really doing real stuff, but they are thinking that if I am building a project by my own self, I need to go and join a hackathon.
Don't join. Eventually, they'll realize when they build it on their own, it'll take them it'll be much more expensive, much more time consuming. Eventually, they'll give up and get a job. And that's what they deserve, right? If they have intelligence, they will figure out a way to resource themselves and do it. See, everybody is flying their own airplanes. That's my understanding in life. Everybody is flying their own airplanes. You cannot. Have you ever seen me micromanage you, Arijit? I might give you a pointer. You ask me a question, I'll say, Arijit, maybe you change this. But on my own, I don't tell you, Arijit, do this and do that and do this. Never, ever have I done that to you or anybody who I know. Because you cannot make people do things. End of the day, your glory is in your hands. Somebody can enable it. I can be a catalyst. But still, it's your credit for whatever you achieve or whatever you don't achieve, right? So Let people on their own. Give them guidance. They don't listen. That's their luck.
Fantastic, sir. Hope this will really be helpful for few people to understand whether they need to join this or not. Anyways, so the next thing is how to present in a very good way, because it happens with many people that it's a NASA event. How can I talk in front of so many big people? There will be fabulous innovations and all those stuff. So many people are very much afraid of joining. Still they want to join, but they're afraid of joining and getting to that kind of platform. So what you want to say about that?
Well, you cannot motivate every single person on the phone, be like, hey, you can do it, I believe in you. It's not possible. It is true that success is scary for many people, and that's okay. You don't have to. You can live a simple life and be happy. The mistake I used to do when I was younger was I would think everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants fame, name, glory. It's not true. What I've realized over time is some people want to have the average life, right? My co-founder with whom I started my first business, Edward, he likes average life. He doesn't want to be an entrepreneur ever again in his life. And I respect that as a friend. I'm not that person. I'm different. So what I've learned is, yes, there are people who are scared of success, and that's what it is. And there are people who are scared of success. They're scared of these big people, and yet the urge to do more, urge to grow, urge to be better is so strong that they can supersede that fear and go above and beyond. I was a complete introvert, still am, right? But my urge to survive was so strong, I had to go through investor pitches, 300 rejections, Arijit. It's not a joke, I mean, at the end, this one person was so insulting. I was crying, and it was an Indian person. All the white people were great. An Indian guy, he was insulting me so much. I came down and I said, I quit. And my co-founder said, well, she was part of the founding team. She said, well, if you quit, we quit our jobs to join you. You cannot quit. You have to keep going. In a month, Arijit, I got my first funding. I was a month away from, revitalizing my company. But if I had quit that day, it'd be over. 300 rejections is not easy. But the point is, when you can overcome your hunger for growth is more than your fear for failure, that's only when you can succeed. If it's the other way around, no matter what you do, people won't make the move.
Exactly.
Destiny.
It's really, I hope the people who are watching this, they are really getting answers that are going to really help them. Fine, there is no more. Onish has commented, but there is no question, just a congratulations. So, sir, the next thing I want you to discuss about that, it was not there in NASA Space Hub Challenge, but since last year, I have included that stuff that whoever is presenting their innovation, they have to come up with a just elevator pitch kind of stuff, so that because it's a group work, it's not only innovator is working, so they need to get this kind of complementary skilled people who can make a business idea out of it. Maybe you're not making a business out of it right now, but you have to make a business idea out of it, and you have to fill up the business model canvas, and you have to give the presentation. So what should be there, how they can think of this thing, how to do a good presentation, some pointers I want you to discuss about.
So short answer to a very complicated question is help them think from the other person's vantage point. You might have seen my last video, the curse of knowledge, right? Yeah. When you are in a bubble, you think everybody knows what is in your bubble. For example, Arijit, I know you work a lot with IoT, right?
Yeah.
And you might come to me and speak in a language that you might think I understand. Everybody should know this. But I don't, right? Yeah. I was once faced by an investor who didn't know what USB was. And he's like, I'm willing to invest only if you tell me what a USB is, because I don't know what is a USB. I had to explain to a 65-year-old man what is a USB in his terms, right? The point is you have to understand the other person, what they know, what they don't know, what you know, and what you don't know. Hold those two contradicting thoughts in your mind and be able to transmit that knowledge in a way the other person can understand and appreciate, not just understand, but appreciate as a benefit. think, everybody's thinking, we are all selfish people. We all think, what is in it for me? You're thinking, what is in it for me? I should get the NASA Space Up Challenge trophy. The judge is thinking, what is in it for me? I want to make sure the best person wins. How will you make sure they understand you're the best person? That's your that's the technique. So you have to think from their vantage point. So do research on the judges, not only your technology, but also do research, because everybody is biased opinion. You will never get a real opinion from anyone. That's not possible. If I'm from marketing background, I will think marketing. If I'm from tech background, I'm going to think high tech, right? And you have to please both of the judges. How do you do that, right? So you have to, and that's the beauty of it all. Watch Shark Tank. You will benefit a lot from it. But the point I'm trying to get across is, think from another person's vantage point, a customer's vantage point, a judge's vantage point, an investor's vantage point, and you'll always win in life. You think from your vantage point, you'll always lose in life. You'll make a product that is only one customer, and that's you, right? So always, that's the key. Now there is, of course, there's a lot more to talk here, which we don't have time for. But if there's one thing, that is, think from the other person's vantage point, applicability part.
Absolutely. Fantastic, sir. I hope that will really help the students to make their own business plan, as well as present that in front of the judges in NASA Space Up Challenge. And hope, like last year, I just mentored, whole Thinking Lab has mentored a few people from West Bengal, and the winner was from West Bengal. So we are hoping to make it a second time. And
I'm joking. I'm completely joking.
So there are some other questions I used to get from student, that how to learn this teamwork, because our education system, all the systems through which we are learning certain things, that's not teaching us the teamwork rather than the third year presentation class, right? And that so they are not eventually doing anything, because three people stand over there, one people present who has the communication skill. What are the ways they can learn? What is the internship they can do internship? Apart from that, because from first year, second year, they cannot get the opportunity to get into a full-time internship. So what can be the thing they can do by their own self, with their friends, and how they can learn the art of collaboration, how they can understand this thing?
Tell me, Arijit, what is the structure of this NASA Space Challenge? Is there some mentoring, something you go, or some education before they present?
Exactly. So that's why
there is something like that. Then you can always arrange for team development workshop, where it's trust building workshops. There's like, you get to know each other. There's icebreakers and things like that, where teammates get to know each other. Once they get to know each other, they get to become friends with each other. Once they become friends with each other, then they know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and thus they're able to work together. But without knowing each other, it's very difficult for a person to say, hi, I'm so and so, and work together, because you don't know what work, how you work. So that friendship has to be developed, and sometimes it has to be artificially boosted, and that's what your team's role might be. So it's not something that people will know coming from colleges or schools or Indian education background, like you rightly said, but they have to be just one day they have to be let alone to just become friends with each other, watch a movie together, have fun, talk, laugh, cook together, right? And then you will see, naturally there'll be friendships, naturally there'll be people who are grouping up, and then what you'll notice is, Arijit, some people will be left alone. They're introverts and they couldn't mix with other people. And that's your job as a facilitator, to make sure that you make sure they feel included. You help them get in a group. So they need a special attention, so they can open up, and they need more time. Not everybody mingles at the same time, right? Like tube light takes a little time to glow, but then it glows. Exactly. So similarly, certain people will need extra effort, and you should, as a mentor, be able to give that extra effort. So you enable the team. Once the ignition is there, then they will accelerate. But that ignition part, external forces is required.
Exactly. Thank you so much, sir. That's a very good pointer for me. We eventually used to do this kind of team building things in offline sessions. Like last year, it happened like we went to different colleges and make the institute level hackathon happen over there and teach them all these things. But this year it's happening all online, and a new way of education that we all are not used with. So we are trying to cope up with that stuff and
So
arranging
do
this.
If you're doing it online, do a speed dating kind of arrangement, not like male female speed dating. Don't call it speed dating, but basically give them 90 seconds and give them some really hardcore questions, personal questions or funny questions, and let them ask those and answer those. They'll laugh. They will share something personal. In the process, they will get to know each other, right? So online, that's the best you can hope for.
Fantastic, sir. So we are absolutely going to keep that part in our session. And I will also personally talk to you about some other things that we can include in this session.
Have you and Nana ever tried the 35 questions for dating?
Not really, didn't get time for that.
So there's a New York Times article where they have these 30+ questions, and basically starts with arigari questions, and then it gets deeper, then gets into your childhood and deeper questions. And apparently, if you do that, you fall in love with the person, So don't do 35 questions, but do 5 questions. They will become friends with each other at least doing that. But I would recommend that for you and Nana because it's really cool. Of course, you know each other so well for so many years. You don't need it. But it's if you have some time for entertainment, like an hour or so, and you don't want to watch Netflix, try this out. It's really cool. Really, really cool. You'll both laugh and try at the same time. It's really cool.
Absolutely. So all the viewers, you can also try it with your partner, friends. So it's a very good catch from this session that you can really utilize. Even if you're not becoming an entrepreneur, you can at least do it and have fun out of it. We are absolutely at the end of the show. We have like 7 to 8 minutes to discuss about certain things. So how hackathon can really help people to learn about this team management and all those things? How hackathon is important for the Indian youths, all the engineering students and all those people?
Our most of our education system is theory. So hackathon is when it gets practical. So we have practical for physics, chemistry. We don't have practical for a lot of the things that we learn. So hackathon is where multidisciplinary people come together. Somebody might be a coder. Somebody might be a project manager. Somebody might be a strategist. Somebody might be a something else. You're all gifted in different ways. And what hackathon does is, in a very short time frame, it's a pressure cooker where everybody melds into each other and learns about each other's world, right? I, as a manager, might have never learned about the life of a money guy, a finance guy. But our finance guy might have never learned about computer science. But we all get to learn about each other's world, and we get better educated. That we are better equipped to work together and understand where a person might be weak and where they might be strong, and help from that angle. There is a nice little show from Times of India that happens. It's a very exclusive club of the best criminal lawyer, some of the best entrepreneur, the best model, the best actor. So they just close down an expensive restaurant, and just 10 people from different background. And what they do is have dinner together. So when they're having dinner, no one knows each other, right? But quickly, so there's a facilitator who instigates conversation. So when the conversation starts, they all realize that each of them are brilliant in their own fields, and they're very similar people because they're all successful in their own fields. But they talk different language, they have different expertise, but they're very similar in ambition, in way of thinking, in net worth, etc., etc. They're well-traveled, well-spoken. And then by the end of the night, they're all like, becoming best of friends. But in the real world, they would have never known each other. So this effort is basically to bring high net worth individuals or high performing individuals together because they're very similar people. So the point is, that's what hackathon on a very small level does. It's your first networking where you get to know each other by working, right? A lot of dating platforms actually do that. For example, Tinder is broken. It's great for hookups. It's not great for relationships, because in relationship, what happens is you get to know each other by working together. So OkCupid does that, or a Flow does that, right? They'll set up a blind date for you where you will either be gardening together, or you're playing the music together, or whatever your strength is. You might not be the best looking guy or girl, but you might have certain God-given gifts. So you play the guitar very well. So they put you in that situation where you can showcase your gift. And that allows you to build the bond, and you get to know each other. So that's what a hackathon is. You know, you're showcasing your strength and everybody showcasing their strength, and you get build lifelong friendships. And you never know how that comes. You might become co-founders for your startup, or end up dating and getting married, have kids together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Happened. One of my friends actually met on a hackathon. They're married now.
I also met with Nana, not in hackathon but in college, and we involved through the work. It's not like that we just have a relationship, then we started working. So we first dated in a burning hut, because that's a very peaceful place for me. I used to go and sit over there. So our first dating was there, and the second dating was in Chandni to buy solar panels for the client, right? So that's how we have worked together and made a relationship out of it. That's really very interesting. There is no space for quarreling with each other, having some doubts about each other, because we all are going for a singular purpose, and that's really absolutely a fun and adventurous journey for whoever is doing this journey. So that's really awesome. So at the end, I want to ask last one question, and that's very important, but people don't consider it important during their college days. That in India, there is less number of people who really have the concept of pocket money at their home, and they used to get money from their parents without any reason and all those stuff. So how they're going to learn about the financial management, because no book is teaching them that stuff, and that is the most important thing they need to know about financial management, because that's the way they can make wealth for their life. How to invest, when to start investing, should I go for share market investing right now, because that's possible with the app right now. With 300 rupees I can become an investor. So is it good or bad? Or if I am going over there, how can I restrain myself from doing bad things with the money? So what is the process of financial education for the people who are in college or school right now?
I mean, it's a very large topic. In short, the answer is always try to be net positive, right? If you are spending on clothes, for example, think about it. Will this help me get to that job interview, or will I have a high self-esteem when I'm wearing these clothes? Or let's say if you're spending on a Netflix subscription, think about it from the vantage point. Will I be wasting time on this, or will it will boost me up? It will charge me up so I can be more productive. If I'm buying a memory foam pillow, right? So wherever you're spending money, look for the outcome, the value. What we see is price. There's a difference between price and value. Value is something that you, if you're from economics background, so in Cambridge, I got to study economics, and that's where my whole lifestyle changed based on my mentality changed, because I don't look at this as a 1,50,000 rupee phone. I look at this as this investment for 1,50,000 will allow me. So before this, I used to have the 16 GB iPhones. This one is 256 GB, right? So I never have to delete anything. You know, it's great. I can work. This is my office. So many times, you know, Arijit, you know, I have been traveling around the country constantly, and my whole office, everything was maintained from here, and it's worth it. So 1,50,000 rupees, if I were to rent an office for a year, I'm paying 1,20,000 rupees, right? And here is an office that's portable. Is it worth it? Yes. It's not only an office, it's also my mental sanity. I can listen to music. I'm learning. My audiobook is here, right? So I'm going to spend on the best phone possible. I'm going to spend on the best laptop. It's a value that matters. A lot of times people are like penny pinching on laptop and spending on girlfriend, or spending on movies, right? Or spending on something like flowers. I mean, why? Because the flower is going to wilt eventually. You know, I love people who give me plants because it's going to grow. It's a side of growth. So important thing is always be net positive. Think about it from a value perspective, that what I'm spending, am I going to get something back out of it, right? And if I'm going to get something back out of it, whether it's mental peace, whether it's going to be money, whether it's going to be social proof, whatever that is, great, do it. If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to get something back out of it, then think about it. Is it worth it? And that not only applies to money, it also applies to time, because time is money. Right? A lot of times I see young people just like daydreaming. What are you doing? Just gazing out, spacing out. You know, stupid. Don't do it. You know, if you were to die next moment, if you knew you were going to die, what would you do? Right? So that's the easy way to kind of think about it, at least get in the mindset.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's incredible, sir. So we are at the end of the show. If you want to give one-liner to the participants and who wants to participate for Space Up India, that would be great for them.
I think Space Up India is a great opportunity for those of you who don't have that opportunity to be a creator. You can be a creator on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, and after a few days, nobody will remember you. Once that song that was so popular is no more there, nobody remembers you. In this situation, this is your opportunity to be that creator, get the taste for innovation, like you get the God experience. It's like God has created us. You become the God of some kind of creation. And because we are part of God, it's natural for us to have the God-like feeling. So this is your opportunity to be the God of your life. Create something, watch that fructify. Maybe you'll get some appreciation, maybe you'll get a certificate, maybe you'll get some money, cash prizes, maybe you'll get incubated by Kolkata Ventures, and hopefully we can take you to the next level to launch your business. All of that can be possible, but this is the beginning. Even if you don't pass, let's say one person is a winner and the less 10,000 people will not be the winner. Still, this is your first step to that direction. Right?
Exactly.
When I got into my first Space Up Challenge like situation, it was called the IEA Business Idea Challenge. I was a third ranker. The first to rank, the first and the second position, they never ended up doing anything with the idea. They got the money, they got a job, and they're still in their jobs. I still know them. We were third place, and we took a little bit of money we got, and we made the most out of it, and we ended up making $1 million business out of it. Right? So it doesn't matter whether you win the Space Up Challenge. It's important you participate in the Space Up Challenge, because you learn so much in these few days. And especially I know Naina and Arijit for a very long time. They're excellent teachers. They're excellent human beings, most importantly. So you will have lifelong friendship with such amazing people. You will make lifelong friendship with people who are like you, who are innovators. And you will get the first taste of being God, right? Being a creator. And the economy will be run by the 1% who are creators. The 99% will be at the shopping malls buying stuff, what they are told to buy from TV. So I invite you to be a creator, and I invite you make the most of your NASA Space Up Challenge. Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure being here. Pleasure talking to you.
It's also our pleasure. We are absolutely glad and excited to have such a session, and it's absolutely helpful for all the viewers. I hope, and I am very much sure about it. And thank you so much for being the incubation partner for Space Up India Hackathon and NASA Space Up Challenge. And for the people who will participate, you can win a incubation to Kolkata Ventures. The winner of the NASA Space Up Challenge will get an incubation to Kolkata Ventures, and Avelo sir will be there to mentor you about your startup, your idea, and that's incredible opportunity that you can have, and that. Because that's going to stay for longer period of time. Maybe it's going to happen for 3-4 days for the NASA Space Up Challenge. But if you get the incubation in Kolkata Ventures, that's going to be a longer period of time and evaluation of your idea, and you can really implement the idea. So that's an absolutely incredible thing. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us that opportunity to convey that particular sponsorship to the people who are participating, and all the people who are still in doubt that you should participate or not. So if you really want to have a outstanding experience, you should participate. I am just giving an example. The winner of last year is participating this year again. So it generally don't happens with this kind of big hackathons. If somebody is we won something, they don't participate again, because if they couldn't win this time, so that can be a drawback for them. So this year the winner is participating because that winner was in touch with me and Thinkagala for last 1 year. I personally sponsored for the patent of that that person, and he right now have a patent, and he's working as a robotics in a research intern in Thinkagala itself. So because he was in contact with us, we have given all kind of resources to him, and we are successful in making a mindset that it's not about winning the contest, it's about the participation, the experience, and the enjoyment. So if you really want to have that kind of experience of learning with a similar kind of people, doing something incredible, you should join. And thank you so much, Avelo sir, for coming. And we hope we can organize this kind of sessions and talk shows in future again. So thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much to all the viewers for watching and giving so much love and support and commenting and being so engageful during the session. And hope you will be amazed with the next day session. I will reveal the speaker by the night. And all the best. Thank you so much and good night. Thank you so much, everybody.